Hey there, let's continue with the next lesson to our Google Ads course. In the previous lesson, we grouped our keywords by relevant landing pages. And just in case you're new here, this is a complete Google Ads course from 0 to Pro. Now let's move on. We're going to build a spreadsheet that we'll use to upload our ads into Google Ads Editor. First, we need a blank sheet. From any Google page, click the Google Apps icon in the top right corner, find Google Sheets and open it. Here we need to create a new spreadsheet. Click blank spreadsheet. Let me quickly show you what we're going to end up with. This file will have three tabs: Data, Keywords, Ads. On the Data tab, we'll write our ad copy, and the Keywords and Ads tabs will be used to export and import data between the sheet and Google Ads. I'm pretty sure you're going to love this spreadsheet. Instead of typing every single ad manually in the buggy Google Ads interface, it's way more convenient to build everything clean and organized inside a sheet, when everything is right in front of you, easy to bulk edit, and then just import it into Google Ads. On top of that, the spreadsheet will automatically count the number of characters in each field and highlight cells in red if we go over Google Ads limits, plus a bunch of other small but very handy tricks. Alright, let's get started. First, we'll reduce the number of rows and columns just to make the sheet easier to work with. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and select row 1000. Now scroll back up, hold Shift and click on row 31. Thanks to the Shift key, we've selected the entire range in one go. Right-click anywhere in the selection and choose Delete Rows. Good. Now let's scroll the sheet to the right. Here, we actually need to add two more columns. Select the last two columns, right-click and choose Insert two columns. Now we have enough space for everything we need. Nice. If you want to free up a bit more useful space on the screen, you can click this button here to hide the top menu. Let's click it. Now let's rename our sheet and call this tab Data. I'll open the top menu again to give the spreadsheet itself a name. I'll call it Upload Sheet Google Ads. Perfect. I'll hide the top menu again. It's not required at all. I just prefer working like this. Next, we are going to freeze the first row where our column headers will be. This will be super useful later, when we have a lot of data. Hover over this little line near the top left and drag it down past the first row. Great. Now let's do the same thing for the first column. As you can see, when we scroll the sheet, the first column stays frozen. Soon this column will contain our campaign names, and now they'll always stay in view. There is another way to freeze rows and columns. Let me show you quickly. I'll bring back the menu bar again, click View, Freeze, and for example I'll choose two rows so it's more visual. Now we have two rows frozen at the top. I'll switch it back to one row. Then I'll hide the menu again. Use whichever method feels more convenient for you. In general, almost everything I show you in this course can be done in more than one way. If you already know another method that works better for you, feel free to use it. Now let's fill in our column headers so that Google can match the data correctly when we import the file. In the first cell we type campaign, in the second add group, next keyword, then headline 1. In the row below we're going to write length. If you want, you can double click here on the column border so the width adjusts to the content. We'll use a formula here that counts the length of the headline. These values are not needed for the Google import itself, so we can shorten the header. Let's rename it to len. And we can also make this column a bit narrower. To speed things up, we'll select these two cells, copy them and paste them 3 more times to the right. Now we'll shrink all the len columns. Holding Ctrl or Command, depending on your OS, select all the len cells in the header row. Then change their font color to something close to red. This way, we visually mark where our formulas will live, so nobody accidentally edits those cells by hand later. Perfect. Let's also highlight keyword. This time we'll use a solid red color. It's not a formula, but these keywords must not be changed. They have to be exactly the same as we copy them from the keyword table we prepared in the previous lesson. Now let's adjust the headline names. We keep headline 1 as is and then rename the next ones to headline 2, headline 3 and headline 4. In column L we'll type description 1. Then we copy the length cell, paste it right after description 1 and shrink it. Next we select both L and M, copy them and paste them 3 more times to the right, just like we did with the headlines. We shrink all the length columns again and then rename the description columns. So we get description 1, description 2, description 3, description 4. Looks great. Next we add final URL. Then path 1, copy len, paste it next to path 1 and shrink that column. Now let's scroll all the way to the right. We'll select the cells under columns U and V, copy them and paste them into the nearest empty columns. And as usual, we'll make the len columns narrower. At this point I really should rename the second path 1 to path 2, but I simply forgot to do it in the moment. I'll fix that a bit later. You can rename it right away if you want. The remaining columns we don't need. Select them, right-click and choose Delete Columns. Now all of our column headers are set. What's next? To make everything a bit more visual, I'll fill in some example values. Here we'll have our campaign names. I'll type campaign name in parentheses. Here we'll have our keywords from Keyword Planner. And here we'll have the main headline of our ad. We're going to write it based on the keyword. For example, if we're using a keyword with a typo, like pedicure 3, then the headline needs to say pedicure. The same goes for keywords without typos, but written in a way that's not readable. We'll normalize all of that to a clean version. That's exactly why we highlighted the keyword header in red, so we don't accidentally change the keywords themselves. But headline 1 we will rewrite based on the keyword. In the len column, the sheet should show us the number of characters in the headline. To do that, we need to add a formula. Where do we get it? You can simply type the same formula I'm using, but I want to show you the logic behind it so you understand how to find any function you need. In Google, type Google Sheets function list and open this page. Press Ctrl F or Command F and search for what you need. In our case, we're interested in the length of a string, so type length. Google shows 5 matches on the page. Scroll through and read the descriptions. The first one isn't what we need. The second one is. Here's the function we're looking for. That's how you can find any function you need on your own. Copy it. Go back to our spreadsheet and type an equals sign, either directly in the cell or in the formula bar above, whichever you prefer. After the equals sign, paste the formula. Now we need to replace text with the data from the cell we want to measure. Delete text and click on cell D2. You could also just type D2 from the keyboard if that's easier. Press Enter and done. Now we see the length of our headline. Let's test it. I'll type a random set of characters in the headline 1 field just to fill it. Press Enter. And everything recalculates. Now it shows 29 characters. Let me type some more. Now it's 46. This brings us to the next thing we need to set up. The character limit for a headline in Google Ads is 30. So now we'll make it so that if we go over 30 characters, the cell gets highlighted red. So we can't miss those issues. First, I'll bring back the placeholder value in the cell. We have quite a few columns in the sheet that will be counting string length, but there are only 3 different limits. Headline 30 characters, description 90 characters, path 15 characters, just so you have the full picture. Let's start with the counter for the first headline. Click on the E at the top to select the entire column. Open the top menu and go to Format, Conditional Formatting. In the Format cells IFTTT drop-down, change is not empty to greater than. In the Value or Formula field, type 30, then choose a red fill color below. Click Done. We can now close this panel. Let's test it. Add some random characters into the headline, press Enter. And there you go, 31 characters, and the cell is highlighted red. Now let's remove one character so it becomes 30 and see what happens. Done. 30 characters are not highlighted, so up to 30 is fine. And starting from 31, the red cell tells us, hey, check this. Now we can simply copy the entire column and paste it into the next len column. Let's test that one too. I'll type a bunch of characters so there are more than 30. We've got 36. And they are highlighted red. Perfect. It works. Let's copy column E one more time and paste it into columns I and K. I'll clear the temporary values from the cell. If I click into cell K2 and press enter, I can see which cell is being used for the length calculation. I'm doing this just to show you visually how you can double check your own setup. Let's move on. Scroll all the way to the right to where we'll calculate description length. Here we'll do exactly the same steps as before. We type an equals sign, LEN, open parenthesis, click the cell we want to measure, close parenthesis, press enter. To test it, I'll type some random text. We got 91 characters. We now need to make sure that everything above 90 is highlighted red, because 90 is the maximum length for a description. I'll widen the column so it's easier to see. Select the entire M column, and while holding Ctrl or Command, also select O, Q and S. Go to Format, Conditional Formatting. As before, change is not empty to greater than, but this time in value of formula type 90, not 30. Choose red as the fill color. Click Done and close the panel. So now we've just applied conditional formatting to 4 columns at once. As you can see, 91 characters are highlighted red, which is exactly what we wanted. Let's remove one character to get down to 90. And perfect, now nothing is highlighted. Nice job! I'll clear the description content, copy the length formula and paste it next to the other description fields. So in each length column we have 2 separate things going on. The formulas that actually calculate the length, conditional formatting that triggers when the value is greater than the limit we defined. Those limits are 30, 90 and 15 characters max depending on the field. Now let's move on to path. Same logic here. Equals sign, LEN, parenthesis, click the cell we want, close parenthesis, enter. Then copy that cell and paste it into the last path length column. The calculations are ready. We just need to add conditional formatting. Select both length columns, go to Format, Conditional Formatting, change Format Cells If to greater than, and type 15 in the value field. Set the fill color to red. Click Done and close the panel. All set. If you want, you can quickly test it. Everything works as expected. Great. Let's keep going. We'll scroll back to the start of the sheet. I'll type something like hello into the keyword field on the next row, and nothing happens. But what I want is for all the formulas we've set up to automatically expand and calculate for every new row we add. You'll see what I mean in a second. I'll delete hello. Now repeat after me. Select the first 2 rows, go to Format, and then click Convert to Table. You can close all the hints that pop up. Now we have exactly what we need. From now on, whenever I type hello and press enter, all of the length formulas automatically extend to the new row. Very convenient. I'll undo that last change. I'll hide the top menu again so it doesn't distract us. Now I'll click the small arrow next to table 1, and here we can make some optional but useful adjustments. You can click rename table and type data. I just like it that way, even though it doesn't change how the sheet works. If you go to table formatting and enable show table grid lines, the table will look much clearer because we'll see vertical lines between the columns. Show condensed view makes the table more compact, which is handy when it grows large. Again, it's a matter of taste. You can also change the table header color to anything you like. For example, something like this. When we converted the range to a table, some of the headers got a duplicate column name found error. Those are our len headers. They're all named the same. For the table to be perfect, each column header should be unique. But in our specific setup, this doesn't affect how the sheet works at all. So we simply ignore this warning. We also lost all our header colors. Let's bring them back. Select the keyword header and make it red again. Then do the same for all the length headers where we have formulas. Awesome! We're done with the Data tab. Let's move on. Click the plus icon to add a new sheet. Name it Keywords. Freeze the first row where our headers will go. From the data sheet, copy campaign and paste it into the first cell on the keywords sheet. Then add group, then keyword. After that, we type criterion type. Skip one cell and type exact. Select the remaining columns, right-click and delete them. We'll also delete the extra rows. This isn't required, I just like keeping things clean. In cell A2, we type an equal sign, switch over to the data sheet and click A2 there. So what we're doing is setting A2 under campaign on the keywords tab equal to A2 on the data tab. Press enter. We do the same thing for add group. You can see in the formula bar that everything's working. To make it more obvious visually, I'll go back to the data tab and under add group I'll type add group in parentheses, so you can clearly see that this value is being pulled into the keywords sheet. Looks nice, right? You don't actually have to use placeholders. I'm just doing this so it's easier for you to follow. Using the same approach, we link the keyword column on one sheet to the keyword column on the other. I'll expand the columns a bit, so it's easier to read. Now let me show you what to do under criterion type. As usual, type an equal sign and click the cell F1 where we have exact, press enter. But there's a nuance here. We need to modify this simple formula. Place the cursor between the F and the 1 and add a dollar sign. Press enter again. This locks the first row when we copy the formula down. Watch what happens. If you grab the small square in the bottom right corner of the cell and drag it down, the formula from the original cell gets copied into the rest. Now all of these cells say exact, which is exactly what we want. Now let me show you what would happen if we didn't add the dollar sign. I'll undo that, remove the dollar sign and once again drag the formula down from the bottom right corner. It might look like nothing happened, and we just selected a range. But in reality the formula changed in every row. For example, this cell now pulls data from F7. You can see that in the formula bar. It's just that F7 is empty, so nothing appears in the cell. The next one pulls from F8, and so on. Each time the row number increases by 1. But we need the first row to stay fixed and never change. That's why I'm putting the dollar sign back. Now everything works the way we want. So bonus tip. You're also getting a little Google Sheets lesson here. Look at the formulas. The row number 1 is fixed everywhere. Perfect. I'll bold the headers, the first 4 of them, because those are the ones we'll actually be exporting into Google Ads. If you want, you can also color them. Now I'll go back to the data sheet, fill in a few sample rows and return to the keywords tab. Nothing changed here yet, and that's exactly how it should be. Select the range from A2 to D2 and drag it down for 3 rows. The same number of rows we filled on the data sheet. Now all the filled rows are visible here as well. However many rows we have there, we'll have the same number here. If you accidentally drag it down too far, you'll see errors like this. That's totally normal. Just press Ctrl plus Z or Command plus Z to undo it. By the way, there's one more thing I want to show you. I keep talking about cleaning up extra rows, but adding them is just as easy. Here you can type how many rows you want to add. By default it suggests 1000, which we don't need. You can add 1 row, 2 rows, or for example 970, so that we end up with a total of 1000. Type 970 and either press enter or click add. Done. Now our sheet has 1000 rows. I'll undo this. Go back to the data sheet and undo it there as well. As always, just to keep things tidy. We're done with the keywords sheet. All that's left is to add one more sheet. Click the plus icon, create a new sheet and name it Ads. Freeze the first row, then go to the data sheet and while holding Ctrl or Command, select all the column headers except for our len columns, the ones that calculate string length. Copy them, go to the Ads tab and paste. Let's set the text color to black and the fill color to something like blue. Delete columns from N through X. Select column C, right-click, and choose Insert one column, right. Name this new column Headline 1 position. In the top cell of that column, type 1. In cell D2 under Headline 1 position, type an equals sign, click the cell with the 1 and add a $sign between the column letter and the row number. Drag it down to test. Everything looks good. Undo it. What this does is lock the first headline position. Here's why that matters. In Google Ads, you can use up to 15 different headlines in a responsive search ad. At any given time, users will see 2 of them, sometimes 3. To make sure the first headline always matches the keyword as closely as possible, we pin it to position 1. The rest of the headlines Google can rotate and test however it wants. Let it figure out what combinations people click on the most. In the next lesson, we'll talk about this in detail. That entire lesson is dedicated to writing the first headline. We'll talk about customer needs, about your unique selling proposition, why Google complains about pinned headlines, but still lets us use them, and why. From a business owner's perspective, pinning the first headline in our ad logic actually gives the best results. And honestly, I'm confident that if you had a different opinion before, once you hear my reasoning in that lesson, you'll probably change your mind. We're almost done. The only thing left is to link the cells on the ad sheet to the corresponding cells on the data sheet. Let's do this quickly. In the cell right under campaign on the ads sheet, type an equals sign, switch to the data sheet, click the corresponding campaign cell and press enter. For the rest, I'll go a bit faster and without commentary. Ad group, headline 1, headline 1, headline 2, headline 2, headline 3, headline 3, headline 4, headline 4, description 1, description 1, description 2, description 2, description 3, description 3, description 4, description 4, final URL, path 1. And here I finally noticed that I never renamed the second path 1 to path 2. Let's fix that both on the data sheet and on the ads sheet. Now we finish linking path 1, path 1, path 2, path 2. And that's it. Our spreadsheet is fully set up. You've spent a bit of time building it, but from now on it's going to be incredibly easy to add new keywords. The sheet will automatically generate additional ads in the future, calculate all the lengths, highlight any issues, build the correct match types for your keywords, and prepare your ads for upload into Google Ads. With this spreadsheet, you'll save a huge amount of time going forward. In the next lesson, we'll start writing our first super high CTR ads, the ones that will bring in real leads and of course money. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next lesson. Think bigger and make money.